Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Dolls of Horror podcast. This is a very special episode because today we have with us actress and stuntwoman extraordinaire, Krystle Martin.
Hello.
Hi, Krystle.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us on such short notice and during this busy holiday season.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, if
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
don't know, Krystle just starred in The Mean One, which was fantastic. I went to see it opening night and I laughed, I cried, I cheered, I cried, I laughed again. It was good.
Fun time. Thank you
Yeah.
for going to see it.
Yeah, we love holiday horror. It's like our favorite time of the year for scary movies. So always love to have another good option for the Christmas season.
Yeah, keeps the spirit going.
It does.
Absolutely.
I have a big box of Christmas movies. That's literally what it is because I'm a physical media person. And I have everything in this from the classics, your Christmas Carol and Miracle on 34th Street, Christmas Story, your newer classics like Elf and Christmas with the Cranks, and many, many horror Christmas movies and a whole lot of Hallmark movies too.
Hey, well, now more Hallmark horror to add to your collection.
Yes, I have everything, and I can't wait till I can get this on a physical media copy so I can add it to the box.
Yay.
All right,
Totally.
Jamie, do you want to kick us off with questions?
Yeah. So, I'm dying to know, how did you get involved with the Mean One? How did that come to be?
Well, first off, if you guys hear cats, I'm visiting family. So if you hear them chittering away or meowing, they want to be part of the podcast too.
They're welcome.
That's Charlie and Jelly.
Aw.
I got involved because I had worked with the director, Stephen Lamort, and the writer, Flip Kobler, before on a short film based on the Powerpuff Girls called Powerpuff Girls The Long Way Back, and I played Bubbles.
I love Bubbles.
Yeah, that was so much fun that I was really excited when, excuse me, Stephen called me again and asked if I would be interested in creating a trailer for this crazy idea for kind of like a horror green guy that I'm not allowed to say that name. That sounded like a ton of fun. So we shot it. That was this time last year, like
Wow.
right before Christmas. We shot it in like 4 days. And then Stephen had it edited by the end of the week and ready to go out all over social media. And it just took off. Like everybody loved it. It kind of went viral there for a minute. And people were like, this is great. When is this coming out? And we were like, it's not. That was the whole thing. That was the whole idea. This trailer for fun, kind of put all the best jokes in there. And then people just kept asking. So then that got our writers writing and Stephen thinking. And then I had no idea this was going on. And I got a call in like February and he's like, so the crazy idea continues. How would you like to do a feature? And it kind of sounded like, because they were going to cast some new roles and things. And I kept waiting for him to say like, oh, and thanks for starting us off, but we're going to cast a new Cindy with some big name actor. And I was going to be like, okay, that's fine. That's how this industry goes sometimes.
Right.
Sure.
And finally I was like, so do you have somebody else in mind for Cindy? He was like, no, that's you. I was like, oh. And I was really excited because Flip is an amazing writer. And then he was teaming up with his son, Finn, on this. And I love everything that they write. It's always got a lot of heart to it. And the character arc, when I finally did read the script, I love this journey that I get to go on as this character. So it was really something special.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so fun because, I went to go see it and Jamie hadn't seen it yet. And so she asked me, of course, as we do, what did you think? Honest opinion. I said, the script was really fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of our segments in our normal podcast episodes is Epic Lion. And so I said, when we finally do this movie as a breakdown, how am I ever going to pick an epic line? It's going to be so difficult.
It's a lot of good ones.
I know. It's so good. So how long did filming take?
Oh my goodness. We did this so quickly. This was maybe a total of, I think I did 15 shoot days and they just had a couple days without me. Yeah, it was slapdash. But everybody was working overtime and doing multiple jobs on set every day. Everyone's just kind of helping out wherever is needed so that we can make the best product possible and get it out as soon as possible, because we knew from the beginning that we wanted to have this out by Christmas this year. So we were filming in February and March, and then I think we did some pickup days in June. And then they had it picture locked by October.
Wow.
Really, really fast. And I always have to hand it to Steven because he is such a hustler, like, and his follow through. And so often you create these indie movies that are so much fun to shoot, but then they just kind of die in post-production and never come out.
Sure.
And this one was really especially awesome because now we get to show people what we worked on, and it took off and went farther than anyone was expecting. And yeah, usually you have to wait for years before that's ever even a possibility. So it's really nice.
For sure. Yeah. I'm still, my first film has still not been released yet. It's been like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that happens all the time. So
Exactly. So it's kind of lost out there somewhere.
Yeah, anyone who's worked on indie know that this is a special occurrence to have something out this quickly.
For sure.
And have it out and go to a theater.
Oh my goodness, I know, this is really a dream come true. We were excited that it was going to be on a streaming service, and they were kind of figuring it out. So Steven would be like, that nothing's inked yet, but it's going to be on a streaming service that you definitely have. And so we're all like, cool. Like, we were excited about that part. And then when we found out that it was going to theaters, I mean, so many of us have never been on the big screen.
That's so exciting. And, like, tell us a little bit about, like, what audience reaction has been like so far, because I have been hearing so much about this movie. People have been really loving it. What's that been like?
Absolutely incredible. Like, you walk into some of these theaters, and I've heard from almost all of my friends and family that have gone, and they're like, I would have gone to support you either way, just to see you up there, and it would have been cool. And I've been like, you were great, the movie not so much. But everyone has told me that they were like, our theater was almost full, and some of them were actually sold out, and everyone is laughing and hooting and hollering, and just everyone is 100% in it. And that is so heartwarming to hear, because that's what we want. We've kind of had this like cult classic thing that we would have loved to happen, and that seems what is in process. So that's a really awesome thing to happen. And yeah, it's more than anyone had expected. It's great.
And what was it like working with Art the Clown? Because we know David, we love David.
He's so sweet.
He's the best.
So I kind of feel like I didn't know him going into this, and I am such a horror baby. Like, I wish I could say I had seen all of these. I've never watched Terrifier because I would be terrified. So I just met David not knowing that he was Art the Clown, and he's just a normal guy. Like, he's so down to earth and sweet, and he's actually been helping me a lot since the movie came out, because I've had people contacting me for autographs for cons and stuff, and that's something that he does all the time now.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, can we get you at a con, please?
Yeah, I would love that. And so he's kind of been coaching me on like what that process looks like. And something I'd never thought about is that, man, I should probably sit down and like actually work on an autograph, because you don't want to be given the autograph that you do on your checks.
Right.
Right.
So new and exciting things. And David has been very generous in helping me navigate that. And on set, he was just a hugely generous scene partner, and so expressive in not only his gestures, but in his eyes, like beyond all of the wardrobe and everything, that could be a hindrance. Like, he is such an amazing actor through that.
Yeah.
And because of that.
I compare him really to maybe almost a Robert Englund, because he's so expressive and he can really act under those prosthetics, both as art. So when I knew he was the Grinch, I knew it would be a perfect fit, because I know how he can contort his face and work with the makeup.
Yeah.
And also, fun fact, I don't know how many people out there know this, but I know this because I'm a theater nerd and I live here. Several years ago, and I couldn't find the exact year, but he did the Grinch at Broadway in Chicago on the tour.
Yes.
And I didn't get to see that. And I don't think he played the Grinch. I think he was an understudy for the Grinch, and he had another part. a
Oh.
regular part. Yes. So, but he was actually here playing in a version of the Grinch, and I tried to find it, but now because of this movie, the only thing that came up was the movie, and I couldn't find any theater credits.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it was maybe
Definitely.
about 10 years ago or so, but yeah, it's like, fun fact, he's already done a version of this.
Wow.
That kind of sparked his interest in it and
Yeah.
made him, so I've heard, made him want to do this more than ever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so what would you say was like the most challenging part of this shoot? And maybe the most fun too.
Um, there are, it's a lot of jumping around.
Yes.
So this was actually my first time starring in a feature film. I
So
had done some
exciting.
short films and some web series, and I felt comfortable going in to the point that I hadn't even really thought about it until it was like 2 days before we were shooting, and I had this epiphany that I'm like, oh my God, I never actually starred in a feature, because I was looking at my script and being like, wow, our shoot days are all out of order, and I have to keep track of like when I'm in a scene where I'm crying and where I'm in a scene where I'm a badass, and those have to be really different feels. And sometimes it was all in the same day. So I would say that was my new and exciting challenge for this project in particular, because it was a lot to keep track of. And Stephen helped me a lot, being like, okay, where are we? Where did we just come from? And am I taking that with me because we're in the next scene, or we're in a completely different scene? And our script supervisor as well, Anila, was awesome in just helping kind of keep my brain straight.
Yep.
Sure.
Script supervisors are very, very important because they kind of keep it all in order.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
And maybe nobody would notice, but I kind of had this, both our wardrobe department, who was also our producer, Amy, who's wearing all the hats, and I had talked about like just the kind of my wardrobe changing as I go through my story arc. But when we're jumping around like that, like even down to the earrings have to change. And we're like, which earrings are we wearing? We can't wear the badass earrings with like the young and innocent like outfit. So Anila was so on top of helping us keep track of that, because all of our brains are elsewhere.
Right.
Sure.
So once you had the final script, how long did it take you to prepare and to really get into the character and feel it and be comfortable in the character's skin?
I would say I had maybe a month with the script, because we went pretty quick into filming. So I just kind of focused on, I read the script as a whole and loved it, of course. And kind of, it made so much sense. Like the writing worked so well for me, and that it was very easy for me to put myself in those shoes of this character. Nothing felt like crazy out there that I couldn't digest it. So then I just started kind of memorizing from our shoot schedule first. But really, yeah, it just kind of, it flowed. I honestly didn't have to work too hard to like understand this character, because I guess she's a lot like me.
Yeah.
Aw. And let's take it back all the way to the beginning. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in film. I heard a little bit when we talked, and I was like, this girl has a really good story. I just wanted to tell like everybody's story on that particular movie. But tell us kind of how you got started.
In acting in general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I accidentally got put into an acting class in the 7th grade. From like mishap of paperwork. I was absolutely terrified and did not want to go. And they made me go to the first day so that they could sort it out later. And I never looked back. I absolutely loved it. I was terrified because they made me go up on stage the first day. Everyone like, she hasn't gone. I was like, no.
Like, don't pick me.
Yeah. And I was a big reader at the time, and I loved kind of just dissolving into these stories. And then I realized, well, I'm just doing that at a grander scale and like experiencing it even more. And I never looked back. And then I got into acting in high school, and I thought for a long time that I was going to be a teacher. I wanted to be a English and drama teacher in high school. And for like 5 years, I thought I was going to do that. And then I just was loving drama so much in high school that I decided to audition for acting schools. And I went to a conservatory and then UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television. And yeah, that's how it went down. And then after that, once I graduated from UCLA, I met stunt people and I thought they were the coolest. Really are like the coolest people on set. You just kind of want to hang out with them. And that's how I got started in stunts. I started going to workouts with them, and then I booked a live show called Marvel Universe Live. And that's basically like getting paid to go to stunt school because I toured all over the US and Canada and Europe with these amazing stunt performers. And we all work together and teach each other things, and everyone's so generous. And I learned so much during that time that when I came back, I just kept booking action roles and stunts, and it kind of just took off. It was so multiple times in my life, these were like pivotal moments where something you don't expect happens and it just kind of changes the whole trajectory of your life.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, you've done a lot of stunts as well as a lot of acting. Do you have a favorite stunts over acting, acting over stunts?
I get asked that a lot, and I just like a balance, once in fact, before this year, it had gotten to a point where I was doing a lot of stunts, and I do love it. And I was super grateful to be paying my bills doing stunt work. But there was also like this kind of voice in the back of my head that's like, but I really miss acting. So I do like an end of the year journal every year and a vision board at the beginning of the year. And I really set out for myself that I wanted to do more acting this year. And here we are. So I'm really grateful that I got to kind of bring that back into the mix because it was something that was missing.
Definitely. And tell us about some of the other projects that you've worked on that you're really proud. I was checking out your IMDb, so I saw some of them, but tell us about some of your other work.
Yeah, I've done stunts on a bunch of different TV shows, some American Horror Stories, 911, 911 Lone Star. I actually doubled Ronda Rousey for 6 episodes on 911, which a lot of people have been comparing me to in the awesome training montage that I love. That's definitely my favorite part of the movie. Career goal checked off. So I take that as a huge compliment that I got compared to my friend Rhonda that I got to double. So that was really cool. What else have I worked on? Well, we met Jamie as I was stunt coordinating my first feature. My goodness, was that also this last year? This summer. So I immediately from filming The Mean One, and the next day I was on an early plane to go co-coordinate with my boyfriend, who's also a stuntman, Brandon Elmore. We were co-coordinating The Misadventures of Vince and Hick in Nogales, Arizona. Yeah. And that was incredible. That was our first feature that we got to coordinate. We'd coordinated kind of similar. So 2 features in 1 year on like different aspects. So it's been a good year, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had coordinated some short films and web series, kind of the same as my acting. And it was our first time taking on a feature and doing all of the stunt coordinating. And that was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That should be coming out, if not late next year, then 2024.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't wait also, because Jamie told me all about it after she met you and said how awesome you were.
Oh, I'm so happy this worked out and we've come full circle and I get to be here now.
I know.
And then when she said that you were the one in the mean one, I was like, oh yes. Oh yes.
I had this moment, I was watching the trailer because I was super excited about it, right? So I was watching the trailer and I see you and I'm like, she looks so familiar. How do I know her? How do I know her? And then I'm like, oh, I know her. I met her. She was in that bar, in the bar scene, a bar fight. So that was really, really exciting. And I'm so happy to see you like doing so well. 2 features in a year. Like, how do you kind of like balance everything out between like preparing and finding work and staying in shape? I mean, because stunts take that too. Just tell us a little bit about finding balance in life with all of this.
The staying in shape, I am glad to say, has kind of just taken care of itself because my day job is working on live stunt shows. So when you're doing 6 shows a day, the working out just kind of happens at work, which is convenient because then you don't have to schedule it.
Yes.
But I actually stepped back a bit from my day job this year because I was working so much outside, which while I'm so grateful to have an awesome day job that is so in vein with what I want to do anyway, it was also felt really good to be able to do that. And I went from full-time there, which was 4 days a week, to a sub position. So I can still go in and cover for people when they need coverage. But yeah, I stepped back so that I could work outside. And it's a good feeling.
Ah, that's great.
What were some of the challenges on the film you did in Arizona of, being the stunt coordinator and being in the film? What are the challenges of doing both at the same time?
Kind of similar to what I experienced for the mean one. It's that, there's a reason that those on a big budget film, that those are 2 different jobs. Like it's a very different kind of brain space, whether you're acting in a scene versus doing stunts on a big scale. There are certain stunt acting roles, we would call them, in like TV shows where it's like, you're playing a cop who has like one line, but also needs to fire a weapon, and so things like that, where there are, small parts work fine when you're doing both, but a starring role or a bigger role where you're doing both, it's a good thing to have 2 people that can concentrate on those and give it their all, because otherwise you're kind of split. I was lucky on the Misadventures of Vincent Hick to have my boyfriend there co-coordinating. So we would just tag team it. If I was in a scene, he would take on all of the coordinating duties and just let me be in the scene. And same thing for when he was on the scene, because we both got to play little stunt acting parts in it as well.
Yeah.
And just lean on your team.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Being a stunt coordinator, you're over everyone's stunts. Is that correct?
You're kind of the manager of anything stunt related.
So you have to worry about everyone and what they're doing too, not just your own.
And it can definitely be more challenging when you're working on something lower budget, because you're usually working directly with the actors rather than stunt doubles who have only, trained for stunts specifically and can come in, and stunt doubles are pretty easy because you're just like, okay, you guys got a little fight sequence worked out. Cool. You guys look good. Awesome. Go film it. And it's a little bit more hands off. But when you're working directly with actors, and I super appreciated everyone on Vincent Hick because they are so game, especially the 2 leads, Chase Cargill and Heston Horwin are always happy to just go for it. Which sometimes for actors in general, you just feel like, okay, but like, let's work through it slowly again, because I want them to get too excited and then go too far or get unsafe. So yeah, it's just kind of working in that extra rehearsal time.
For sure. And kind of going back to the mean one now, do you have any favorite like on-set memories you could share with us?
I would say I was really happy with the final scene, which I can't give any spoilers. But I think everyone had been a little nervous about that scene because it could be kind of a pitfall. And we really wanted it to feel organic. And after we were finished, I went up and thanked David for just being so wonderful. And like I said, his eyes are so expressive, and that made my job so easy. I was able to look past the makeup and everything and just connect with this fellow actor in a really important moment. And then the Flip, the writer, came up and hugged me. And at that point, like, he had already been playing my dad for like 2 weeks. So we already had that kind of relationship, and he came up and hugged me and he's like, thank you. Like, we were all a little nervous about the scene. We thought about the scene, whether this was going to remain in or not. And he's like, you did exactly what I had in my head. So thank you for bringing that to life. And that getting a little teary eyed, like that meant so much. And then that's all you want, is that collaboration between the performers and the director and the writer and everybody to just be happy with the final result.
Totally.
I loved that finale. I laughed so hard when it happened, and no one in the theater got it. They didn't, and clearly they're not as well versed on the nursery rhyme. I call it a nursery rhyme. It's basically a nursery rhyme, right? They're not as well
Yeah.
versed on the dialogue, and I was like, and then everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy.
I'm
And
so
I'm
glad you got that because some
I'm
people
like,
are.
wait for it, wait for it. I was hoping that it would be explained, which it was, and then they started laughing, but I was losing it, and my friend who I was with was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Never mind, don't mind me."
I'm so glad you thought so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Glad you got it.
everyone was looking at me like I belonged in the movie, like I was insane.
Yeah. It was important to all of us to like play it straight, but then have
Yeah.
those moments that are hilarious because of what they are, you know?
Right.
And
Well, straight is funny. You know, if
yeah,
you try too
absolutely.
hard to be funny, it's no longer funny.
Very true. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Totally.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, is there any type of project that you're really interested in doing that you haven't got to do yet?
I haven't done like a straight comedy. The genre is comedy. I haven't done that really yet. And I think it would be a fun challenge. I definitely kind of gravitate more towards drama and of course action. Because anytime I get to combine both stunts and acting, that's a fun day. But yeah, I would like the challenge of a comedy.
Awesome.
Do you have a favorite field of acting? Theater, film, television?
No.
No, you love
Anytime
it
I
all.
act, yeah, anytime I get to act or do stunts is a great day. I love being on set. Similar to how I was feeling about acting though, it has been a while since I've done live theater and I miss that. And I do live stunt shows, but it's not quite the same. I think there's just a bit of a different feel of being on a live stage. I had the awesome opportunity recently to stunt coordinate a high school production of a play at Beverly Hills High School called The Play That Goes Wrong,
Yes.
which is chock full of stunts
Oh.
and a hugely ambitious undertaking for a high school or
It
anyone.
is.
It's kind of, if anyone doesn't know it, it's kind of similar to Noise is Off,
Yeah.
where everything that could possibly go wrong in the play goes wrong and everything's falling and people are falling and hitting people and the understudy wants to take out the lead actress. So there's some fight stuff in there and it was so much fun. The kids were amazing. And it kind of started out doing a favor with someone I used to do theater with ages ago. And she now runs the theater department at Beverly Hills High School. And she called me up and asked if I was interested. And in the beginning, it was kind of just a favor to her. I was like, sure, I could do that. Like, that sounds like it could be interesting. But then these kids just get your heart. Like, to watch them succeed. And like when they would finally, it would click for them and they would get the stunt. And then all of them would cheer. They were so supportive of each other too. That was really cool. And it just kind of, I actually messaged my high school drama teacher and I was like, I get it. Like, thank you so much. Like, this is really special getting to be a part of this. And I have such fond memories of high school drama. And I'm really glad I had that time in my life. It was very formative. So getting to be a part of that magic happening was unforgettable. It felt like a favor to me.
And that's such an insanely amazing show. I saw it when we went to London 3-4 years ago, and just the timing. Everyone has to be so on that show. Jamie, things were falling from the ceiling. People were falling from the ceiling. Like there was like a set built up onto the wall, second story, and it like fell.
Yeah,
like, on purpose. And it's like, what? So I can't even imagine a high school doing that show.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was really magical. But more than anything, it made me be like, I want to be in this show now. Like now that I've seen how awesome it is, like I want to play too.
Yes,
definitely. And other than people like your drama teacher in the past, we talked about your drama teacher. Who are some other inspirations in your life?
Oh, I would definitely have to say my mom's mom, my Nana. She's been gone for 10 years, but I still feel like I want to pick up the phone and call her all the time because it's funny, she had sleep apnea, so she didn't sleep very well. But that just meant that I could call her 24/7. Like she was always happy. She always was happy to hear from me, and she'd pick up the phone and be like, "Oh, hello, my angel." And she was probably, I mean, my biggest support. My parents, of course, too. But there is definitely a special place in my heart for my Nana. And I have definitely kind of fallen apart multiple times. My boyfriend's just held me through all of this because I really wish she could be here to see this. She saw an improv show that I did once. And I played a dog on stage because we were all imitating like an audience member's family. And when they got to me, they're like, okay, and then who could she play in your family? She's like, oh, that's all my family members, but we have a dog.
And you're like, I'll take it.
I spent this entire scene like being this rambunctious dog and going around and sniffing everyone and being she would tell every waiter or customer service person that we ran into how amazing I was when I played this dog. Yeah. So if she could have seen this, nobody ever would have been able to take our order anywhere we went because she's singing my praises nonstop. Like, Nana.
We have a thing we say here on this. Yeah, we have a thing we say here on this show, which is shout out to the grandmas because they're seriously the best people in the world.
Shout out to the grandmas for sure.
Yeah, it comes up all the time because a lot of times our influence from our grandparents comes into the show. I saw my first horror movie at my grandma's house because she had a house full of foster kids and I was an only child at the time. So at 8 years old, I saw my first horror film and I was all in from then on. And one of my favorite shows to this day, and everyone laughs and like, no, I'm dead serious, is Diagnosis Murder. Because, well, Dick Van Dyke, of course, but because that's what we would watch together. That and a myriad of other CBS shows, of course, but that was my favorite. And every Thursday or whatever night it was on, we were watching our DM. So it comes up pretty much every show.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you were a horror baby. And so I'm curious, after having this experience with The Mean One, are you interested in exploring the genre a little bit more?
I try, and my boyfriend tries. Because horror is so referenced in our culture, I've like made myself watch some of them. Like I made myself watch The Exorcist because that one comes up in pop culture all the time. You just can't unsee it. Like that part coming down the stairs, like I can see it still. And my boyfriend has tried to kind of like work me in. We watched As Above, So Below, and that one was a little bit more kind of thriller-esque and kind of like more like messing with your mind. And so all of that I can take a little bit. So that one wasn't so bad. It was awful. He made me watch it.
And again, which one?
The new one with Skarsgård.
Yeah. Yes.
Who was brilliant and actually reminds me a lot of David. Like I think that both of them have such amazing facial control and just body awareness and how they use their instrument as a whole. Really impressive. So I can appreciate how amazing his performance was, but also absolutely terrifying. Like, and I'm not even one that's afraid of clowns. Like I can't imagine people who are already afraid of clowns going in.
Right.
But I man, even watching like a few jump scares got me in our own movie. Like I know what happens, and my boyfriend's laughing at me because I'm like the popcorn goes flying. So into what the characters are experiencing that I should know better because I'm a performer and I know how movies work, but I get drawn in and they're doing that like that music that gets you to lean in closer, and then like the next beat of music that terrifies you and makes you jump out of your seat. Yep, I'm one of those. I'm totally the one that screams in the theater.
I love that though. When I go to a movie, I want to be like experiencing it, at the deepest level. So I make noises in movie theaters. I laugh, I cry, I scream. It's just like, that's what a good movie should do, I feel like, right?
I went to go see Smile with my friend Naisha and her daughter. And her daughter's a teenager, but is a big baby too. And Smile is not a gory movie, but there's a lot of jump scares, and she was jumping out of her seat, and I'm
Yeah,
like, "Will you stop that?" And I said, "I'm not jumping at the movie. I'm jumping at you, jumping at the movie."
that's great.
It
I'm
was
probably
so
really
funny.
fun to watch. I've
Yeah.
been told that I'm hilarious to go with.
Well, stick with us, lady. Another horror reference. We have such sights to show you.
Yes.
Um, it's kind of like when you're trying sushi for the first time. You're like, okay, we're going to start out with the California roll, and then we'll work.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Take
like
you in
what
slow.
yeah. And what are some of your favorite movies, just since we're talking about favorites?
It's always hard to choose a favorite. So years ago, I decided that The American President is it's such a well-rounded movie. It's Rob Reiner directed and Aaron Sorkin wrote it, and so many amazing actors in it. Like I have looked up to Annette Bening forever, Michael Douglas and Michael J. Fox, and just so many great actors. And I just love that it's got a little bit of everything. Like maybe some action is missing, but that's when you go, like, I loved The West Wing too, which I discovered later, which I believe was made from kind of the leftover research that he had done for the American. So it makes a lot of sense that I would love both, and I really do.
Yeah.
Actually, I met Allison Janney recently on set, and I am so glad to say that she was such a sweetheart. Traveling on something, and she came in the trailer, and she's like, "Oh, are you our stunt double?" And I was like, "Hi," and she's like, "Hi, Allison." And I was like, I don't get starstruck very often.
You're like, "Hi."
I know who you are.
Aw.
My goodness.
It was so sweet, and I was just like, I have looked up to you forever.
Oh, I bet she was happy to hear that too.
I tried not to fangirl too hard because I'm like, I have to go like be cool stunt woman in a little bit.
You're like, "I'm a professional, but oh my god."
Oh my god.
I did kind of blurt out that I'm like, I've watched The West Wing for years, and you're amazing. She goes, "Oh, thank you." I'm like,
Oh.
"You're nice. I'm so glad you're nice."
Yeah, totally.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes. We've all had those moments. Most of the time I'm pretty chill, but when I met one of the actors who I loved since I was a kid, he came into my restaurant. I said, "I just wanted to say I really loved you in Some Kind of Wonderful." And he's like, "Oh, but you're so young." I said, "Oh, stop." And I cried. And I had no chill. And he was lovely. He was so lovely to me. And I'm like, "Love you." Anyway, moving on. I would love to know, what was it like working on American Horror Story?
Oh, it's awesome. Simon Rhee is the stunt coordinator on that. And so he does such an amazing job of orchestrating everything and keeping everyone safe. And that was one that I know so many people are huge fans of that, but I am such a horror baby that I don't know all of that coming forward. But so what really struck out to me was every day we're on set, apparently fans would find out somehow where the set was, and they would line up with cameras, and some of them would dress up, and they would be across the street from the set all day. So, and then they would, every time you pass, they're like, "Oh, who's that?" Like,
Wow.
I was on the spinoff of American Horror Story, plural, American Horror Stories.
Right.
And I was on 3 episodes. I got to double the leads. What's cool about that one is every episode is different. So there's constantly new people coming in, new stories being told. So I doubled 3 different leads in episodes.
Wow.
It was
So
really
cool. So cool. And something I always like to ask people just about their experiences. So through your whole acting journey, what are some of the things that you've learned? Whether that's a personal lesson, whether that's a professional lesson, what are some of the most important things you've learned on this cool journey?
Well, technically in school, like you go through all of the different acting grades and the methodologies and Meisner and Udo Hagen and the Stanislavski method and all of that. So technical wise, like you kind of pick and choose what you love from all of those and how you're going to make it your own. I also studied more recently at the Michael Laskin studio, and he has a book out called The Authentic Actor that I loved. In fact, I read the book first, and then I found him at the back of the book who wrote it, and like went and found him online and messaged him. And I was like,
Right.
how do I get in your class? And he's like, well, it's booked for months. You have to get on a waiting list. And I was like, yeah, but how do I get in your class?
Yeah.
And didn't give up and kept like emailing over time until I eventually was in his class. I love about his methodology is just really bringing yourself to the character because you know, some acting methods are very much like become the character, and his is how do you bring yourself to the character, because you're the one and only you, and you have your own set of experiences, and why would you just sweep all of that under the rug, you know?
Totally.
So I like that a lot, and kind of using the as if a lot, which is like putting yourself in making the circumstances more applicable to you by saying like, well, if this, I used it a lot with Flip, who played my dad in the movie, just really using my own dad, like how I would act with my own dad. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback about how heartwarming our relationship was. And I really feel that too. Flip did an amazing job. And it is helpful that both Flip and my dad are total goofballs.
There you go.
And I think that really shows on screen. And then, of course, during sad moments, when we filmed that scene, I had to call my dad later that day. Just like, off the ledge because I miss you really bad and I wish I could hug you right now. Yeah. So those are all the technical things. And then I would say on kind of a more long-term emotional scale, I would say just never give up. Like that is what I have learned. Like if this is something that you see yourself doing and you can't see yourself doing anything else and being happy, like go for it 100%, and don't ever give up, and don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't or that you're not good enough. You just have to keep believing in yourself, even when you're working 6 jobs and trying to make rent and selling DVDs at the reused DVD place down the street to make rent. I've been there, done it. And I stuck with it anyway, and here we are.
Wise words. I mean, you know, it's like just that's the most important thing, right? Show up for yourself, don't give up, believe in yourself, be your friend.
In Amy Field.
Yeah.
And I suppose the counter side to that would be like also create a balance and make sure that you know, get breaks anytime that you're feeling burnt out, because I've seen a lot of people leave this industry just because they were trying to do it when it wasn't fun anymore. So sometimes you have to go and like take a break, find another hobby for a little bit, and then come back to it renewed.
For sure.
Yeah. I would love to know on the stunt side, do you have a favorite type of stunt to execute?
I really like getting set on fire.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. I do. A lot of stunt people say that.
It's a fun one. It's kind of a unique feeling. I did a live stunt show where I did a fire burn every show. So I've done like probably close to 400 fire burns. And it's really funny the first time you do it because your brain is like, we're on fire.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of have this constant mental inner monologue going like, we've trained for this. This is how this is supposed to go. Like it's warm, not hot. I'm constantly like, I'm moving forward on the fire so I can take a breath and then going back. And I've got my people standing by. They're going to put me out as soon as I go down. Like, and you just constantly have this self-talk going on. And that's so important because it is not natural to be on fire, and your brain and your body know that, and they're screaming at you. And eventually that gets a little easier, but man, that first time, and it is a known thing that can happen where you get, you know, stunt people that want to get set on fire and they're all about it and they're totally game, but you never know what someone is going to do when they're actually set on fire, because that voice might be really loud. So you're kind of, when you're doing fire safety, like you're ready to tackle someone with the fire blanket, because if they just panic and run, like you never know. And most of the time that doesn't happen, of course, because we're trained professionals, but you got to be ready just in case.
But you can't be trained for that first time because you've never done it before. Mentally, you know what to do, but the emotions might take over. You don't know. How long do you normally stay on fire in a fire stunt?
I would say most of them are probably about 20 seconds.
Okay.
But I think the world record is like 4.5 minutes or
Oh my
something.
goodness.
And
Wow.
when you get to that point, you're on oxygen, which I have yet to do, because you need to breathe.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of them, the one that I did, we were actually indoors in an amphitheater. So the fire marshal had a very strict 20-second rule, like do not go past 20 seconds or we will shut you down.
Okay.
So we were usually at like 18, 19 seconds and then we'd get put out. We
How
actually
do
had
you know how do you know when it's time to get put out? Are you counting or do you have a signal?
for that show, we actually had a giant timer going so the audience could see how long it had been, which was helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
And
girls feel for the timing.
Yeah.
yeah. And do you have any projects up ahead for yourself? Are you working on anything else right now that you can tell
Um,
us about?
I am happily on a bit of a break at the moment. We are doing our like family palooza trip is what we've called it because I'm in Texas at the moment and we were just
Okay.
in North Carolina visiting my boyfriend's family and then visiting my boyfriend's dad here. And then we're going from here to Portland to visit my brother and my sister and my mom. So we're just kind of hopping around and it's been nice to just really get to be with family and not get pulled because it's a kind of an ongoing joke in the stunt community that if you want a job, you book a non-refundable flight and then everyone calls.
Yeah.
Of how that goes. But this has been a nice break that I don't I haven't gotten any calls so that I'm not tempted to be like, oh, I love you guys. I'll be right back while I go work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an unpredictable business. So when the jobs are there, you kind of have to take them.
You
For
do.
sure.
Besides that, I've got some video games in the works right now that I totally can't talk about for like the next 2 years, but those are exciting, and I have some more of that coming up.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, one more wrap-up question, and we love to ask this to guests because they come up with some really fun and interesting answers and inspirational answers. What is your philosophy?
Oh, my philosophy: be open to opportunity, be open to people, be open to love. I think we can put some walls up sometimes as humans, and I think just being open to life and all of it, I think is. I didn't know that was my philosophy until right now, but I
You're
think
welcome.
first thing, yeah. And like I told you, like multiple times in my life, I had this pivotal moment that if I hadn't been open to change or open to an opportunity, my life would be very different right now.
Jamie has said similar things also to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely. Got to be
Yeah.
open to it. Got to say yes to opportunities and things that come your way.
Yes, another good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
Jamie said this might not help, but it won't hurt.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You never
Jamie,
know.
do you have any other wrap-up questions for our guest?
Just like I'm so glad, not so much a question, I guess, but I'm so glad that you took some time to chat with us. I was really excited to see you in that trailer. I was like, oh, she's kicking ass in this. It's so cool to see. It's so cool to see you, in person working on this other movie and then see you here. So I'm very happy for your success. And I'm so thankful that, we had time to talk to you today.
And thank you so much for taking time out of your family palooza to come be with us for a little while. It's really special.
Thank you. They've been very supportive and excited, and they say hi.
Hi.
They're really excited I am getting to do this. We are in theaters this next weekend, and we are hoping that we can get one more extension on our theatrical release so that we can be in theaters during Christmas. But we just need lots of people to go and post good reviews if you loved it, and if you didn't love it, this is Avatar: The Way of Water. So yeah, we just want to keep paving the way for more indie films to get theatrical releases, and that just takes lots of people going and showing them that this is something that we all want.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And
Listeners,
support
everybody
indie
go
horror.
see this.
Yes, this and every other indie horror that you can get to the theater for. Look what we did with Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
How many times did that get extended? 5, 6? I don't even know. no one
we're
expected
on
that.
David doing it more than once. So
Yes.
Yes. And now this, go support indie horror, no matter what. I don't care what it is. Just in indie films in general, we got to put our
Absolutely.
money back into the industry. Us
we
as
need
the
more
consumer.
voices.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can have your voice by buying your ticket. You don't have to go to social media for it. Buy your ticket.
Totally.
That's how you can really, really speak, because that's what they look at. They look at numbers, right?
Yeah.
So go buy your ticket, man, and spread the word and bring your friends to this and every other one you can get to. Seriously, because we're all about the indie horror here.
Love it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, Krystle, thank you so very much for joining us. And thank you, Jamie, for setting this up. This has been great.
Thank you so much. So thankful for it.
Go see The Mean One and everything else Krystle's ever done, okay? We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.